What up, what up? Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And on this channel, we talk about everything crowdfunding, man. Like I go berserk talking about Kickstarter, Indiegogo, WeFunder, GoFundMe, all the types of crowdfunding that are out there. And today I want to talk about Indiegogo and specifically like, can you really make money with this platform? Is it a possibility? I want to go and really dissect the question here and figure this out for you and hopefully deliver it in a straightforward, easy to understand manner. Hope you enjoy it, and it's coming up right after this. All right, so can you make money with Indiegogo? Can you generate that cash? Can you make it rain, right? I think that there are a bunch of different types of people in the audience. So you have people that are like entrepreneurs, creative types, designers. You have people that are gamers, right? That are trying to create a new game. So it's difficult to speak to everyone. Then you also have people that are trying to just like make a quick buck. I call this the fix and flippers, or the people who like want to just do a Shopify store or make money with affiliate marketing, right? You have the quick money people as well. So I'm going to kind of break this down for everyone. But first of all, I think that if you're in more of that quick money category when it comes to just trying to look for like a get rich quick kind of thing, or affiliate marketing, or I don't know, I guess, like I was saying, drop shipping, probably not going to be the best fit for you, honestly, just being straight up. So if you're watching the video and you're in that category, probably not going to be best for you. That being said, if you're more in the creative category, you're trying to create something new, a new game, a new product, a new design product, a hardware product, technology, gadget, gizmo, something new, this is going to be really the video for you. So the first thing I want to talk about is like, can you actually do this? Is it possible? Or is this just like a bunch of random people online who somehow have found success, but they're not real? Every single person that you see on the other side of your computer screen is real. Like you look at me, right? You're looking at this video. I am a real person. I live in this planet, right? I live in this world. And one of the things that I found so frustrating when I was getting started was that I think it's kind of hard to remember that. Like when you're looking at numbers online of people or little profiles, you forget a human being is behind that, right? So one of the things I've done religiously is I have documented with my podcast, the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast, on this YouTube channel and also on Spotify and also on iTunes. You search my name, Salvador Briggman, will come up probably. You can listen to other episodes with real people who I'm not paying in any kind of way, came on the show and just shared with me and just kind of, talked shop and told me what did they do to get funded with an Indiegogo? How did they get a river of traffic when they went live? What did they do with this thing called the pre-launch, which I document in the Kickstarter launch formula? What are some of the ways they got attention to their project? How do they handle PR and influencers, like all that stuff? You can find these interviews, which I've done, which are long, but like super comprehensive and chock full of crowdfunding gold, man. This is insane if you don't take advantage of this. So I have spent a lot of time trying to prove to my audience that this is real. This is happening. It's happening now. And people are launching projects every single day on Indiegogo. I've proven it to you there, but also if you look at Indiegogo, the platform itself, all of the funding is public. Look at it. You can see people who are actively raising money. You can see the funding meter, right? You can see that it ticks and then people every once in a while are backing it and it goes up and up and up. This is real. This is live. This is happening. So first of all, I think without question, 100% you can make money with Indiegogo. But I think that question honestly actually comes from a different place. Because you're like, you know what? I know I can make money with Indiegogo, right? But really the question is like, is it profitable? Is it long-term? Can you create a living out of this? I think that's actually the real question, right? So I kind of want to break that down a little bit. First of all, profitability, that word. So a lot of times we throw out that word profit. What does that actually mean? Well, in accounting terms, you got revenue, right? So you sell, let's just say 100 books, they're $10 each. You're going to make $1,000, right? Then you got the cost that it takes to actually make that book. So the printing cost, shipping art, we'll just say is actually factored into revenue. So maybe it's actually like 1,200 or whatever, right? So you have the expenses. So there are certain expenses that come with producing a product, and what's left over is the profit. However, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So when you're launching an Indiegogo campaign, usually you have perks or rewards that people can pick on the right-hand side, right? And they can pick, unless you're mobile on your phone, they can pick these perks or rewards. And when they do that, they are expecting that you ship out the product to them in the future. So this is a funding meter, you're raising money, but it's also more like you're kind of generating revenue, right? And there are certain expenses that come in line with shipping out those products to people. So if you see a campaign that raises $1 million, right? They did a massive 7-figure raise. Well, they didn't just able to pocket that money and then go and relax or go to the beach or go on a really long hiking trip to the Appalachian Trail, right? And tune out from all of their cell phone and everything, which actually sounds super nice, right? But they didn't just do that. They actually had to ship out product. There were obligations that come with funding, hitting that big of a number, right? So you have expenses, and the revenue minus the expenses that go into the campaign, and those expenses might be the actual product itself, right? But they might be other things, for example, tooling costs or costs that go into the mold, or things like marketing, right? Those kinds of expenses. Maybe if you hired some people to help you out, that might also be expenses. That also goes into, technically, for the business itself behind the product, some of those expenses, which you can write off, which is awesome, man. You can write off all that stuff, which will lower your taxable income. So the name of the game usually with business is that you actually don't necessarily want to just have a lot of profit. If you look at Amazon, right, or you look at bigger corporations, they aren't making profits. Why is that, right? It's because they're investing back into the company. So that's what a lot of these companies will do, is they'll just invest money back into the company, whether that's to fuel new innovation, new R&D, to improve their operations, the structure of the organization, etc. A lot of these companies are just investing back into themselves because it's the best way to use the money which they have collected. So to make profit on a campaign is your choice. So you can decide, you know what, rather than growing this company, or rather than continuing to produce more new products, I just want to have like a one-off wonder and just pocket the money that's profit, and that's going to be my salary. That's going to be my income, and I'm going to pay taxes on that income, right? That is one way to go, or you could decide to reinvest it. The choice is up to you. So that's the first thing you should understand. It's just the way the numbers work, right? The second thing is like thinking about the career behind it. So this is kind of the next part of the question, I think, which is not like, can I make money, right, with Indiegogo? It's like, can I build a career out of this? Can I support myself full time? Can I quit my job, right? That's to me like the biggest thing. Can you quit your job, man, and actually do this full time? Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. So here's the way that I would think about it this way. This is kind of like where you are building a house, right? And in order to build a house, you need a foundation, right? If you don't have a strong foundation, you ain't gonna have a good house, or it's gonna end up sliding down the hill, or heaven forbid, you got a condo with a bad foundation and it's gonna tip over, right? So this to me is investing in the bedrock foundation of that house. And usually people confuse the foundation with the actual house. And it's you know, you're viewing it in the physical world, it's like, no, it's different, right? But in the virtual world, it's really easy to be confused about that. So you don't want to view Indiegogo as your career, okay? You want to view this as doing a massive product launch to get a ton of funding, tons of interest, tons of excitement, you know, really shout your name from the rooftops, and you get a bunch of people interested in what it is that you're doing, right? And you get a bunch of customers, and from that, you then have a leaping off point where you can then turn that into something. So this is kind of like the viral moment that you've been searching for, which then allows you to do so much cool stuff, right? Almost like every single, let's just say, big name celebrity, like Tom Cruise, right? Or any Leonardo DiCaprio, or whoever you want to pick. They had some kind of a breakout moment. You didn't know always that Tom Cruise was Tom Cruise. He was in a movie that gave him enough exposure that then allowed you to see what he's like, and you got to know his personality. all the time. New stars are coming through Hollywood, right? And this is kind of like your exposure event. It's what allows you to get on the map, okay? And you would be crazy if Tom Cruise was like, oh yeah, my career is risky business. It's like, no, it's one movie you did, right? One movie you did, which maybe did really well and got you to everyone to know you, and now you can do other movies, right? Or then you can create a studio, or then you can produce your own films, right? And do those kinds of things. So it's kind of like that. It's like you can do a successful Indiegogo, you can make a bunch of money doing it, but at the end of the day, what's the point of it? The point of it is so you can then launch an e-commerce business, or you can launch a tabletop game publishing business, or you can launch a business that produces cards or tarot cards or whatever it is, or spiritual things, right? This is the beginning point of it. So you shouldn't look at that just as a career. You should look at it as kind of like the rocket ship engine that's going to get you to the moon, okay? The other thing I would say is that there are certain categories where you can just launch game after game, launch tabletop after tabletop. You can launch new and new product designs out there more and keep going back to Indiegogo, right? Other ones are a bit more usually one-off sometimes. If it's a smaller niche, like something that's just like EDC, you might do a couple Indiegogos, then you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell it on my own website and make more money doing that. And I have enough of a big customer base that if I come out with a new product, they're gonna buy it on my own website. So you should look at this as like going to the opportunity in order to, this is like a bad analogy, I guess, but like you can hunt some buffalo to bring them home for the family, or to hunt some buffalo to bring them back to the teepee, right? Or back to the fort, or whatever you want to, whatever analogy you want to have. And then the teepee, or your little community, is really what your full-time gig is, which is like the business behind it, which is the online store behind it, which is the game publishing company behind it, right? And that's really where you're making your long-term capital. You're stacking that capital, stacking those dollar bills, right? So you can do cool stuff and you can quit your job. You might have enough money to maybe go a year, for example, with quitting your job when it comes to Indiegogo, but like, what about the next 30 years, you know? You gotta take that money and invest it and grow it. And also, you gotta come out with new products, or you gotta set up your online store. And that's what becomes the engine that fuels that parachute, so that when you do quit your job, you're not just like falling flat to the earth. Instead, you got that parachute that's going to allow you to just soar through the air and be able to gently go and put your feet on land, okay? The other thing that I would say here is that aside from just, launching a new business and that kind of stuff, which is super exciting, I think this is also really good for determining whether or not you should even go down that route. So it's massively good for validation in that way. And you might decide, for example, that this product isn't the right one. I want to do another one. You do the other one blows up, right? So it shouldn't just also think of it from like I want to quit my job to do Indiegogo. It's more like I want to figure out the right fit and then quit my job. So you want to kind of think of it that way, and like that can actually be your career, and you can keep obviously coming back, if you will, to hunt more buffalo when it comes to the marketplace. And then once you get enough, you can then maybe become more like agrarian. I'm going super out of left field with this analogy, but then you can release your own products on your own store, and you can do all that kind of stuff if you want to. So I would say you definitely have to view it in that light. The other thing is that crowdfunding works really well if you combine it with other forms as well. So let's just say that you are more of like a creative type. Let's just say you're more of like a blogger or a podcaster or a YouTuber or a designer or a graphical artist or something like that. You could do a one-off campaign and use crowdfunding that way with Indiegogo. Then you can maybe go to Patreon and you can start a subscription-based crowdfunding campaign where people are supporting you on a monthly basis for $25, and you get a bunch of them, and you're making some really good consistent revenue to support your life that way, and you're launching campaigns. So you can make the best of both worlds. Or maybe even you got like a software product and you watch some of my videos on WeFunder and you're like, you know what, Sal, I'm going to first do the Indiegogo, and then I'm going to go to WeFunder and raise a boatload of capital for my business. And instead of having venture capitalists, I'm just going to have $1 million that I raised with a WeFunder campaign that's going to fuel my entire operations, and have these different investors and really try to go big and swing for the fences with this company that I'm trying to start. So again, there's a lot of shades of gray here, and it really depends on you. What do you want your next year to look like? Think about it. So few people in our society will take the time to actually ask themselves and answer that question. What do you want your next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? What do you want that to look like? If you really could use all of that intelligence that you have and hard work and hustle, which you're using to make someone else money, your employer, right? If you could take that and like centralize that and have a laser of focus and put that into this campaign, what could you accomplish? What could you do, and would it be worth it? And that's a question I'd love to just leave you with. You can leave that answer down below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Come subscribe if you want more content like this. But I hope I answered your question. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and I'll see you next time.